Hey, hello! Today I would like to show you how to create a basic rigid body movement so that the laws of physics will impact our player. We've got our player in here, we've got box collider on it and Rigidbody2D as well, and I have just added player movement script to our player. Let's open player movement script, which is empty at the moment. And the first thing we want to do is to serialize some variable so that we can change it in the inspector. It will be about the speed. So let's type speed equals 5f for the beginning. It's just the random number. I think it might be just right. But this is why we make it serialized field so that we can experiment later in the inspector about this value. Now we need to cache the reference to the rigid body component. So let's type Rigidbody2D RB. And now in the awake, we will cache it. So RB equals get component Rigidbody2D. Now in the update, we need to get input from the user. So let's use update. It will be a good idea to know the direction of our player in the global scope, because later on we would have to use a fixed update method to use physics. So let's add float and let's call it direction X. Here we will know if the player goes left or right. And now we need to assign a value to it. So direction X equals input from the user, get axis, maybe we'll use get axis row. And here we'll type horizontal. We don't need a vertical axis. We want to have a movement only left to right, because later on we will add jumping functionality, so we don't need that. And now we need to move our player, so we'll do that in the fixed update because we want to use the physics. So now we will call rigid body component and change the velocity equals, let's create a new vector2, and here we will use the value that we get from the user, which will be direction X. And of course we need to multiply it by the speed that we provided at the top of the script. And when it comes about the Y value, we want to use the value that it has at the moment. We don't want to change it. So we can't really set it to 0, because that would mean that our player cannot move up and down, but it's not what we want. We want it to be moved. So we will use the velocity that it has at the moment actually. So RB velocity Y. And this is pretty much it. We don't need anything else to add to it. In the update, we check the user's input, and that's why we use get axis row and horizontal, so that we can use this on the keyboard and on the pad as well. That would work just fine. And in the fixed update, we will just move it with the rigid body, with the physics. So let's go back and check if it works. Press play and we move to the right and to the left and everything seems to be working. Great.